Toyota, known for bulletproof reliability, incredible resale values, and cars that last literal decades. But here's the thing, they're also incredibly slow to innovate. Features lag years behind the competition, interiors feel dated the day that they launch, and new tech often takes decades to appear. And yet, despite all of this, Toyota keeps selling in huge numbers. So then, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about the Toyota problem and why the company's obsession with reliability and cost effectiveness is keeping them ahead in some ways, but leaving them dangerously behind in others. Jiroka or Jiroka is a Japanese manufacturing philosophy that means automation with a human touch. This production philosophy that is largely used by Toyota means that at first a car will be handmade in order to find any inefficiencies or waste during the production process, and then when it is time for the car to get mass produced, when it's time for the robots to come in, all of those inefficiencies and all of the lessons learned from that initial hand building phase will be implemented into the robots, meaning that they can stop production by themselves whenever they detect that something is off. This basically means that mistakes are very rare during the Toyota production process, which is part of the reasons why their cars are so bulletproof. Before Toyota puts a new model out to customers, they will randomly select one car off the production line and test every bolt, rivet and weld by basically tearing it apart using an air chisel. Engines are also put through rigorous testing. They are revved from idle to 6,000 RPM over 200,000 times. Something that would kill engines from, certain manufacturers that I'm not going to name right now is just part of Toyota's quality checks. That's absolute insanity. And I'm starting to see now why their engines are so good. And finally, interior components are put through x-rays, temperature and weather testing. It honestly feels like they're making military vehicles instead of commercial vehicles that go out to customers. This much attention to detail in the testing phase is probably the reason why my dad's Hilux is going to outlive me. Most likely than not. One of the other main pillars of Toyota reliability is the Kaizen philosophy. This is a business strategy that prioritizes constant improvement all the way from production to executive leadership, even down to customer service. The business must always continue to improve incrementally in small steps. So instead of trying to achieve huge leaps in improvement, Toyota chips away at each and every small problem here and there, slowly and gradually getting better and better as time goes on. And it's crystal clear, and it's been crystal clear, that these strategies are working. I mean, Toyotas are amongst some of the most reliable cars that you can find on the road. They're used for everything from war to farming and even peacekeeping. But this focus on slow, gradual improvement and optimization over time creates a problem when it comes to innovation. It means that Toyota is very conservative and careful when it comes to their adaptation of new technology, because they prioritize reliability and cost effectiveness over trying to implement the most cutting-edge technology. New technologies often take years to make it into Toyota vehicles because the company first has to make sure that those new technologies are reliable and that they work well and that they are cost effective to implement. So all of that rigmarole that they have to go through basically means that from the time that a new technology is introduced to the time that it goes into a Toyota vehicle, it would have gone through extensive testing during that period, which is good for bulletproofness, but very bad in terms of technology. Nothing moves faster or progresses faster than technology. So by the time that Toyota implements new technology, it's not new anymore, and there's something else that they still have to put through that entire process. I think we're starting to see the problem here. The very thing that makes Toyotas bulletproof, their obsession over testing and constant improvement, is the very same thing that means that they lag behind in terms of technological advancements. For me, nothing embodies the Toyota innovation problem more than the recently launched Hilux Legend 55, the last special edition of the Hilux until we get the next generation next year in 2026. There are a few cosmetic changes on the exterior, including Legend 55 badges absolutely everywhere, 2 new body colors which are dark green, mica metallic and sand beige, black grills, black wheel arch moldings, 18-inch wheels that are stolen straight from the Fortuner, and a branded puddle light. There's also a single practical change that's been made to the outside, which is a front bash plate to protect its jewels, which is really good because we all need protection for our jewels when engaging in adventurous activity. All right, let's move on. If you got that one, you got that one. If you don't get it, forget about it. On the inside, the Legend 55 has a 9-speaker JBL sound system, sports seats, and an 8-inch screen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But apart from that, nothing has really changed. It's still just a normal, outdated GT6 interior. This car is basically just a normal 2.8 GT6 with some makeup and a frontal on. It's the same engine with the same suspension setup with the very same interior. Nothing has really changed here. The center console literally looks like the center console in my dad's D4D, a car from 12 years ago. It's actually kind of incredible how Toyota has been able to get away with such behavior for such a long time. This was a cool opportunity to do something even just mildly interesting, but instead it's just a quick rebrand to milk the pockets of South African consumers who cannot resist a special edition car and will unfortunately buy these things in droves. I mean, I've already seen one of these in my area, and this is a semi-rural area and the car just launched and people are already buying it. So this formula is a formula that is reliable and that works for Toyota, and at the end of the day it gets sales, but it is really getting old. I'm not gonna lie. And yes, the people buying these things are probably not going to regret it, because at the end of the day you're still buying a Toyota Hilux. This is still one of the most reliable buggies that you can get in South Africa right now, but considering the price that you're paying for one of these, you really have to ask yourself if it's really worth it. I mean, there are really nice buggies that you could get for the price that Toyota charges for this Hilux. So we have to ask ourselves if paying the Hilux indestructibility tax is worth it at the end of the day, when you could literally get so much more for the money. For a bit more than a new Legend 55, you could get yourself a 4x4 Ranger Wildtrak, a car with a way more modern interior, drivetrain and suspension setup. In terms of features, Bantu Bengosi, let's be honest, this car is light years ahead of the tractor that is the Toyota Hilux. And you know, being a Ford and all, it might not last as long, but at the end of the day, it is just a way better vehicle in terms of creature comforts. Even the new Isuzu D-Max 3-liter V-Cross is way better sorted on the interior in my personal opinion. I way prefer the interior of the new V-Cross over the interior of the new Legend 55. Now, I've never driven a D-Max before, but I have driven a 2.8 GT6, a 3-liter D4D and a Ranger XLT double cab, and I can say that it is no competition between the Ranger and the Hilux in terms of driving experience. Even base model Rangers are superior to the Hilux. Now, I've never driven the GR Hilux before, the GRS I believe it's called, but in terms of the GT6, the normal Hilux that a majority of people are going to buy, I've driven that, and the Ranger is just better in terms of the driving experience. It kind of feels like the Hilux is stuck in the past while other companies are just blitzing into the future, taking consumers with them. I know, it's kind of interesting to think about. I mean, even the worst type of buggy that you could buy, Chinese buggies, are giving Hiluxes a run for their money. You guys will know that I have a mobile car wash business, and a few months ago I was cleaning a new Photon Tunland G7 and was just awestruck at the quality of the interior. It honestly felt like I was cleaning a luxury SUV, like some kind of Mercedes G-Wagon or something like that. It was absolutely incredible. I mean, it even had a sunroof, right? I'd never seen a buggy with a sunroof before. Now, it obviously wouldn't be very smart of me to compare a Toyota Hilux to a Photon buggy, but the Photon is a buggy with a 5-year, 200,000 kilometer warranty, an incredible interior like I've already said, and kind of comparable performance, kind of more comparable to like a 2.4 GD6 than the 2.8, but it's in kind of the same ballpark. The Photon is less powerful, but it is also hundreds of thousands of rands cheaper. So yeah, another very interesting thing for all the Hilux owners to think about there. The Hilux formula still works though. I mean, it's literally the best selling bakkie in South Africa. I'll get into that a bit later on. There is a bit of a technicality in that, but it is the best selling bakkie in South Africa. The formula works, but they're just stuck in the past. They're not pushing the envelope as far as they should be, and the competition is not playing around. I mean, these are just a few examples of the many bakkies that you could get for this money that are way more superior to the Hilux in terms of features. So the question is, how long can Toyota keep doing this, keep lagging behind technologically in terms of the Hilux before consumers start demanding more from them? And that's where it gets a bit interesting, my friends, because maybe Toyota buyers don't care about all of the flashy new features or the most cutting edge interiors. In July 2024, the Hilux accounted for 3,021 units sold out of the 11,131 total units sold by Toyota South Africa in that month. And despite everything I've just said about the Ford Ranger and Isuzu D-Max being objectively better bakkies, the Hilux is still the best selling bakkie even up to like July 2025, with the Ford Ranger coming in second and the D-Max third. But how is this happening? How is one of the least technologically advanced bakkies still the best selling? The truth is that a majority of Hiluxes sold in South Africa are the single cab versions, and the best selling double cab bakkie in South Africa is actually the Ford Ranger. So it would seem then that buyers of the Toyota Hilux are more interested in rugged reliability and utilitarianism than they are in plush interiors and big screens everywhere. I mean, only 47.4% of Hiluxes sold in the first 4 months this year were double cabs, while 83.2% of Ford Rangers sold in that same period were double cabs, proving that in terms of the luxury or status symbol side of bakkies in South Africa, something that I'll probably make a video about because it is kind of a bit of a problem. But in terms of that side of the bakkie segments in South Africa, the Toyota Hilux just simply cannot keep up. I don't think that's a bad thing though, as it seems like the Hilux occupies its own little like subcategory in the bakkie segment, which is the subcategory of unrelenting and uncompromising functionality. Toyota has built a reputation over the years of relentless durability and widespread availability of spare parts for like literally every Toyota ever made, which means that people who look into buying Toyota bakkies are not really looking for the car with the latest features, with the nicest interior, with the nicest driving experience. They are looking for a workhorse that will last them decades after the warranty expires. And while the Hilux proves that a loyal fan base can keep sales up, the bigger picture is quite clear. Toyota is kind of walking a tightrope right now. They dominate now because people trust them, but unless they actually start blending their legendary reputation with like some actual decent technological advancement, the gap between them and more modern competitors is only going to get wider as time goes on. I use the Hilux as a narrative device in this video, specifically the Legend 55 device, to kind of describe the Toyota problem as a whole, but the lessons that we learned from this video kind of apply to the entire brand. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I never say this, but apparently it helps with YouTube, so make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. If you are subscribed already, make sure you click the bell icon so that you're notified every time I make a post. We are trying to hit 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you've been watching our videos and you have not subscribed yet, Chief, what are you waiting for, Chief? You're holding back the success of another black child here. Subscribe, man. Subscribe. Yeah, that was it for the video, guys. Thank you for watching and goodbye.